Welcome back to my channel AWS DevOps Niche 11. In this video, we are going to see how to integrate SonarQube with Jenkins. So in my last video, I have talked about SonarQube. I have explained about what is the use of SonarQube and how it helps developers to analyze their code, identify the bugs, and correct their code accordingly. So in this, we will see how we can integrate SonarQube with Jenkins, how to pull a project via Jenkins, compile it using Maven, and send the source code to SonarQube. And SonarQube will analyze the source code and publish the results. So let us directly go ahead with the lab instructions. Meanwhile, if at all you have not watched my previous video on how to set up the SonarQube, you can click on the link above and you will be able to watch my previous video. So as part of this video, we will set up SonarQube as a first step, and then we will go ahead and set up Jenkins. Then we will do the integration between the two. So as part of SonarQube setup, I'm going to launch a t2.small instance in AWS because that is a minimum prerequisite for SonarQube. SonarQube requires minimum of 2 GB of memory, which is available only in the t2.small instance. So let me first go ahead and launch the instance. Then we will have to install OpenJDK 11. So SonarQube, again being a Java-based application, I'm going to install the OpenJDK 11. Then we are going to set up the SonarQube Community Edition, where I'm going to use the version 8.9.2 because the latest version 9.x version of the SonarQube, it is having some compatibility issues with Jenkins. So 8.9.2 is considered to be a very stable version, and it is also available for the long-term support. So I'm going to use 8.9.2 version of SonarQube. Now, as part of the Jenkins setup, I'm going to launch Jenkins, or rather I'm going to launch a t2.micro instance and install Jenkins on this instance. Then again install OpenJDK 11. Then we will go ahead and install Jenkins. Then we will be installing Maven and Git because I'm going to use my project. Source code is available in the GitHub repository, and I'm going to use Maven to compile the code. Then, as part of the Maven and Git integration, we are also going to install the following plugins on the Jenkins server. We are going to install Maven Invoker, Maven Integration, GitHub plugin, and as part of the SonarQube integration, we are also going to install SonarQube Scanner. Then we will have to configure the system in Jenkins and add the SonarQube details into the Jenkins server. Then we will be setting up the Sonar Scanner 4.6.2 version, again in the Jenkins global tool configuration. Then we will be creating a job which is going to pull the project from the GitHub, and it is going to compile the project using Maven, create artifacts, and then send the source code to the SonarQube server. And SonarQube server is going to analyze the code and send us the reports. So these are all the sequence of steps that we are going to follow. So now let's directly get into the lab, and let me start with the SonarQube setup. So as a first step, I'm going to launch the t2.small EC2 instance. So I'm in the AWS EC2 console. So let me launch an instance. I will say SonarQube. And with respect to the AMI, I'm going to select the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. And as I mentioned, we are going to launch the t2.small EC2 instance. So here in the instance type, I'm going to select t2.small. And let me select one of my existing key pair. And with respect to the security group, first I will open the SSH port from my IP address. And then later on, once the instance is set up, we can open the port 9000 for SonarQube. So while this instance is being launched, let me also launch an instance for Jenkins. I will name it as Jenkins. Again, I will select the Linux 2 AMI. Instance type, I will leave it as t2.micro. And I will select the key pair. Let us launch this instance. Okay, now the SonarQube instance is up and running. So as a first step, what I will do is I'm going to open the port 9000 as well, because SonarQube runs on the port 9000. So let us go ahead and open this in the security group. Let me say edit inbound rules. So I will add a custom TCP rule with port 9000 open from anywhere. Let me save these rules. Now let us log into the SonarQube server. Okay, let me upload the keys. So as a first step, we need to install the Java Open JDK 11. So let me just put my instructions. First is install the Open JDK 11, which is available from the Amazon Linux Extras repository. So I will say Amazon-Linux-Extras install Java-Open JDK 11. Okay, so Java has been installed. Let me check the version of Java. I will say Java minus version. You can see here, it is the OpenJDK version 11.0.20. So now let us go ahead and download the SonarQube 8.9.2 Community Edition. So it is available from this particular link. So if I go to this link, okay, you can see here binaries.sonarsource.com, and I click SonarQube here, and here you can see all the versions of SonarQube that is available. So let me go ahead and select version 8.9.2. Try this link. Okay, so I'm just trying to download the SonarQube 8.9.2 Community Edition. Okay, so it has been downloaded. Okay, you can see here, this is the binaries in the zip form. So let me go ahead and unzip this package. Unzip. Okay. So as a best practice, let's go ahead and delete the zip package. I will say rm-f. So we have downloaded the SonarQube. Now as a next step, let us go ahead and create a user for SonarQube, because we need a user called Sonar admin in order to run this application. So I will say user add Sonar admin. So let me set a password for this user. Password Sonar admin. Okay, so now the user Sonar admin has been created. Now the next step what we need to do is we need to add this user to the wheel group so that it gets some permissions. So for adding to the wheel group, I will say vsudo, and let me search for wheel here, and I'm going to add an entry. I will say Sonar admin. Just copy this one. Similarly, I'm going to make one more entry here below this line. Okay, Sonar admin. All equal to all. And let me copy this as well. No password, colon space all. That's it. Now let me save this file. Okay, so the user has been added to the wheel group. Now what we'll do, we will go ahead and execute the sonar.sh script in order to start the application. So I'm already in the OPT directory. I'll go to the SonarQube 8.9.2 directory. And let me go into the bin directory. Now I will go into our OS folder, which is Linux x86-64. So here you can see there is a script sonar.sh. I will say /sonar.sh space start. So this is a command to start the application. So it has started the SonarQube application. Now I will verify if the application has been started successfully. It's saying SonarQube is not running. Okay. So we are getting this message because I am running the application as a root user. Okay. So I'll have to switch user to Sonar admin and then restart or start the SonarQube application. So what I will do is I'm going to switch user to Sonar admin, sudo su minus Sonar admin. Okay, now I will just verify if I am logged in as a Sonar admin user. Yes. So now let me try to start the SonarQube application. I will go to OPT. Then here we'll go into the SonarQube 8.9.2 folder. Then let me go into the bin folder. Go to this Linux x86-64. Now I will say /sonar.sh space start. So failed to start SonarQube. This is a message I'm getting. Okay, that's because we are missing one step here. So if I go into the OPT directory, you can see that the SonarQube directory is still owned by the user root. So I need to change the ownership to the Sonar admin user. So let me first do that. I will exit. I will go back to the root prompt. And let me give this command chown -r sonar admin and that particular folder. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving the ownership to the folder SonarQube-8.9.2 to the user Sonar admin, and the group is also Sonar admin. Okay. So this step is very important before we start the SonarQube application as a Sonar admin user. Let me see what is the exact folder name. Okay, 8.9.2.46101. Okay, so let me copy this folder. Okay, done. Now if I say ls-l, you can see that this particular directory is owned by the Sonar admin user. Now let me switch to the Sonar admin user. And then I'll go back to the OPT directory. I'll go into this 8.9.2, then cd bin. Okay, x86-4. Now let me try to start the SonarQube application. Sonar.sh space start. Okay, now you can see here the started SonarQube. We will verify if the application is running. Yeah, now it is saying that it is running, right? We will try to access this application in the browser. Let me go to my EC2 dashboard. I'll grab this IP address. And as I told you before, SonarQube runs on port 9000. So I will say this IP:9000. So it is starting the application. Okay, so SonarQube is up and running. All the systems are operational. That's the message we got. Okay, so let us log in with the default username password. It is admin and admin. Okay, and it will ask you to reset the password and change it to a new password. Let me enter the old password, which is admin. And I'm going to set it as a maybe admin 123. Let me click update. Okay, so you can see that our SonarQube application is up and running. This is our project screen. So this is our first step where we have set up the SonarQube. So we are done with all these steps from the point of view of SonarQube, right? So we launched a T2.small instance. We have installed the OpenJDK 11, and we have also installed the SonarQube version 8.9.2, the community edition, right? So now let us go ahead and set up Jenkins as our next step. But before I do that, what I wanted to do is, for Jenkins, we need an authentication key from SonarQube. So I'm going to create the key and keep it ready so that we can use that while setting up the Jenkins. So how to create that key? Let me go to administration here, and I will go to security. I'll go to users, and here under the tokens, I will say add a token, and I'll give it a name. This is a token for Jenkins, right? So I will say Jenkins underscore token. This is for Jenkins to authenticate with SonarQube. And let me copy this. And I'm going to paste it here, and I will be using this later while we are configuring Jenkins. Now let me close the screen. Okay, so yeah, we are done with the part 1 of this video, wherein I just showed you the setup of the SonarQube version 8.9.2, and we also have created an authentication key which we will configure in Jenkins. So the next part of this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Jenkins and how to integrate it with SonarQube. So I'll meet you all in my next video. Thank you.